This is very important, friends. You might expect this also as a question this time. Okay. Tribal cell. Establishment and legal basis of tribal cell in Raj Bhavan. What is the tribal cell? A dedicated unit within the Governor's Secretariat focusing on tribal affairs under the 5th schedule, Article 244(1) of the Constitution. Okay. Why it exists? How it exists, I'll tell you. This is proposed by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs in December 2010. Before that, there was no tribal. For the first time in 2010, there was every year, the president calls all the governors for a meeting, and in the meeting he takes stock of the situation from each state and union territory, how the government is functioning in addressing the issues of the tribal people in the scheduled area. And each governor submits an annual report on a mandatory basis to President of India, which is called as Administration of Scheduled Area Report, which says how much fund is mandated to be given or earmarked for the tribal people, how much has actually been budgeted, how much has been spent, and what is the benefit that has accrued to the tribals, and which are the problems still continuing to engulf the tribals. Okay, so that is the kind of thing which is done. So in 2010, when the President of India, I think it was 2010, was it Pranab Mukherjee? I don't remember, but probably in 2010, Pranab Mukherjee was the Honorable President of India. When he took the meeting, he pulled up many governors that Constitution has given you a lot of powers to exercise, and you are not exercising the power, even you do not know about the problems of the tribal communities. So many governors said, sir, we are asking government to give us information, but we are not getting the information. So that is why President of India took a decision that each governor house in scheduled 5 states will have a tribal cell of its own with dedicated people who will provide information to governor, so that governor can know where the problem lies, how things are happening, where to pitch in. Okay, and this tribal cell, even 2 letters also I can give you. I have both the letters. In 2010, Ministry of Tribal Affairs wrote to all the state governments that because of this decision, you are mandated to have a tribal cell in your secretariat with this skeletal staff. Again, you have taken anthropology. With anthropology background, people were to be taken. But what happened, it was taken seriously by some states, but since it is not mandated in the Constitution, they played with it. The other reason is, if Government of India, you see BJP rule, and there are some states with Congress rules. The government decided that if governor will have a dedicated tribal cell, he will try to know what bad things we are doing, and they will pass order which will surpass what we are ordering. So I remember, I can say this, in 2012 when I was Director Tribal Welfare. So when this letter came, I gave a proposal. My secretary also sent it to Chief Secretary, and Chief Secretary sent it to Honorable Chief Minister, the Honorable Chief Minister had called me because I knew what is happening. Instead of calling the secretary, I was called. And he said that why have you submitted this kind of a file to me? If this is granted, then there will be two parallel structures for tribal development, and governor can, take such decisions which will probably, be the other way around of what we are doing. So that is why, that was not granted. Somehow or the other in 2015, I could manage to create, by arguing with the Chief Minister, a tribal cell which was managed by the officials of Tribal Research Institute on deputation. But then the fact of the matter is, even today, this tribal cell is not established in all the Scheduled 5 states of the country. This is a deliberate attempt, I must tell you. But 6 months back, this was taken very seriously by Prime Minister's office and President's office, and now it is becoming mandatory, notwithstanding whether it is manned by the BJP, Congress, or for that matter, any party in the state. You see, Maharashtra was the first state who brought out a resolution, and on 5th March 2013, a tribal cell was constituted. We'll try to find out, what it does, you see. And it not, this is, current implementation spectrum, what it is now. You find it is operational in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Jharkhand in full-fledged manner. Pending, Odisha has not yet set up a full-fledged cell, despite proposals and reminders. I have said full-fledged. It has a tribal cell, but it is not full-fledged like these, 4 states. What is the objective of a tribal cell? I have already said, but then I am telling you, to support constitutional responsibilities of the governor towards peace and good governance in settled areas. It is written down. To improve oversight of tribal subplan TSP. Remember, I'll tell you about TSP. To improve oversight of tribal subplan budgets and ensure benefits reach tribal populations. Third, rationale is to monitor and assist in the governor's annual reports to the president as mandated under the 5th schedule. I told you, every year it is mandatory to be submitted and explained by governor. Governor doesn't sleep for a month and prepares, how he will face the President of India. And to address petitions, representations from tribal communities, and coordinate follow-up action. Every day you will find in governor's secretariat, tribals are going and they're giving their complaints, petitions. So right now in Odisha, a separate grievance cell for the tribals has been constituted, which is a part of the tribal cell. And everything is now online. And this also gets connected with the President's Secretariat. And all the petitions are classified under different categories. And what all actions governor has taken has to be explained by governor before the Honorable President. That is what, rule is all about. How far, the President of India is becoming serious, how far the governors are complying to it is a different thing. And to ensure interdepartmental compliance with governor's direction, especially on tribal welfare. Right now, the annual administration of scheduled area report, how it is done in the budget. Suppose Odisha has got 22.85% tribal population in the state. So 22.85% of the total budgetary provision has to be earmarked for the tribals. which department has given how much of money, whether the state is really complying to 22.85% or it is on pen and paper and only 11% is getting, flowing for tribal development. Whether there is, whether there is, diversion of fund from TSP fund for non-TSP purpose. All these things, finds place in the annual administration of Federal Area Report of Governor. And the tribal cell also has to act on this. So Maharashtra is the first one who did it in 1213. Rajasthan Tribal Welfare Cell set up in 2011, endorsed as a model at governors' conferences. Madhya Pradesh launched in 2022, includes IAS officers, experts and legal advisors to monitor tribal issues, land rights and TSP planning. Jharkhand, I have told you, implied, operational but details limited. Odisha, no full-fledged cell yet, despite the repeated reminders from the center since 2010, and a temporary arrangement only has been done. Core responsibilities of tribal cell is this: assist governor in discharging duties under the 5th schedule, peace and governance. Okay. Second, analyze tribal sub-plan expenditure and ensure benefits reach intended communities. Third, prepare and finalize annual reports for the president regarding scheduled areas. Could I tell you one thing? When I took over in 2012-13 as director, tribal welfare, I saw that from 2003-04, the annual administrative report has not been submitted to president. Don't think that Odisha was only, a criminal that way. Most of the states, had not given. So I had to update, and when I left in 2022, it was updated up to that, and it was institutionalized for successor to do it. So, in fact, the tribal cell has been set also one of the main reason for them, work for them is to prepare the annual administration of scheduled area report. Can they do it? Can they know what is happening everywhere? They will run from pillar to post to various departments, bring data and prepare. Go to the field and prepare. And process representations from tribal communities, coordinate with departments for action. That's what I said. And tribal cell will ensure compliance of government departments with the governor's directives, promote implementation of PESA and other welfare measures efficiently through coordination. Even now, PESA was promulgated in 1996. How many years have passed by? 30 years have passed by. There are still states, including that of Odisha, where PESA rule is yet to come up. These are some of the reasons for which in the last president's meeting with the governors, it was raised, and the concerned secretaries were summoned to President's house, and it has been now taken up in a very, very strong way for establishment of tribal cell, who will be made accountable if any lapses happen. Tribes Advisory Council, I have not told you much. Tribes Advisory Council also you can expect as a question you are asked to write in 1,000 words, something they also ask 150 words. Okay, 150 words. You can just Google search and find out what tribal advisory council speaks, and you get ready for this. Let me tell you, each one of the scheduled 5th state, scheduled 5 state has a tribes advisory council provision, and tribes advisory council provision is something as per the constitution, and the tribes advisory council is headed by the chief minister. I'll tell you how many members are there. And who are the members? I'll tell you that. So, TSC, or Tribes Advisory Council, is established under Article 244(1) and Part B, Para 4 of the 5th Schedule of the Indian Constitution. You must write down. I'll leave this in a PowerPoint with you. You can have a look at it. Discretionary expansion. The President may direct the creation of TSCs in states having scheduled tribes but no scheduled areas. You see? Constitution very categorically says, I'll show you which are the states. They are not scheduled states. But then they have got TSCs. That President of India can instruct, and that will become law of the land. Composition, what is the composition? Up to 20 members will comprise of the Tribes Advisory Council. 3/4 of it must be ST representatives from the state legislative assemblies. You know, MLAs are there. So out of the MLAs, 3/4, 15 will be from the MLAs, and cutting across party, not only the party in power. It has to give all the parties who have representation. If a party has, if there are 3 parties, one party has got 2 representations also, one will be given. If not enough ST MLAs exist, the remaining seats filled by other tribal community members. Functions and responsibilities of Tribes Advisory Council. Its primary role is to advise the governor on tribal welfare and advancement when referred to them. Any decision that is taken, by the Tribes Advisory Council cannot be straight away implemented. It has to go to governor. Governor has to give his approval. Then only, those decisions can be implemented. Scope of advice. What kind of advice? Address development schemes, land rights, education, cultural preservation, and welfare policies. Provide recommendations on major tribal issues and tribal sub-plan implementation. This comes under the scope of TSC. What are the auxiliary powers? The auxiliary powers are: the governor must consult the TSC when making regulations for peace and governance in scheduled areas, though cultural advisory nature depends on materials effort. You may say that, sir, you said that governor can declare something so moto. Yes, I'm coming to that. Whenever governor decides that these are the things I'm going to order, he will just, call for an emergency Tribes Advisory Council. Tribes Advisory Council is not government decision. It is an advisory committee. Those things which governor wants to make changes will be placed in the Tribes Advisory Council. And if it is not accepted by the Tribes Advisory Council, then also it goes to governor. And governor will have a look at it. He has the last say. Okay? He can overrule whatever recommendations come from the Tribes Advisory Council. Then what is the rule making power? Governor can make rules for Tribes Advisory Councils functioning, covering appointment, meetings, meetings and procedures. Okay. Meeting frequency. Should it hold 12 meetings in a year? No. It has to meet, expected to meet at least twice in a year, or biannual. Let me tell you, the states are not complying to this. If you talk of Odisha, from where I come from, and I had some say in the government, after this present government has come, it is holding it very regularly. 6 months, every 6 months. They have only completed 14 or 15 months, but they have done 3 TSLs. I have seen, you see, Odisha had not convened its TSC even once in 4 years as of 2022. What we poor people will do, we will only, as secretaries or as director, will process the file to the chairman to give a date, and we also give the agenda. I have seen, I'm not talking about Odisha, I'm talking about most of the states in the country, and why, it is held back, I'll also tell you from my own experience. This you need not, you can say that, it is not being held, but, those examples you did not give. I'm telling you, the chief minister sees at the agenda. In agenda, what are the normal things that comes up? Vaid will be included as a scheduled tribe. It will be a proposal which has the agenda of opposition, so that they will get, votes in their own locality. But government doesn't want that proposal to be vetted. So if, I have just indicated this. There are 6, what should I say, new areas which will be declared as scheduled area, which government doesn't want. So if a meeting will be held, there will be lot of, halla gulla, and media will also cover. So just to play safe, in most of the cases, this kind of deferment takes place. But Tribes Advisory Council is to sit, twice in a year, constitutionally, and it is a blatant violation of constitution. For example, you say TSA constituted since 1977, meets twice annually, held 42 meetings since its first in 1978. This is what in case of Himachal Pradesh. Odisha, I have told you, I am not going to say more dirty things about my own state, but this is a phenomenon everywhere. Impact on tribal governance and core issues. All 10 states with settled areas have constituted TSs, everybody. Constitution based states are legally required to set up TSs. None have yet been formally exempted. States with ST, but no TSC. Some states without settled areas, for example, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Uttarakhand, have also formed TSCs following presidential direction. I told you, president can also direct to have, TSC beyond the 10 scheduled 5 states. Non-compliance issues, I will not go into that. You see, what is the takeaway? Mandate TSC is constitutionally mandated in scheduled area states and optionally in others upon presidential direction. This point you remember and you expand, because you have to write in 150 words. Setup and composition up to 20 members, 3/4 ST MLAs, with remaining seats for tribal community members if MLA is insufficient. Functions, 2 points. Provide advisory input to the governor on tribal welfare and development, and must be consulted on regulations affecting scheduled areas. Meetings expected biannually. Impact and reality. When functional, TSA can set policy and shield tribal interests. Inadequate engagement, example is Odisha, diminishes its role. Recent active engagement in states like Jharkhand demonstrates TSA's potential when operational. Okay. This much if you just expand, it becomes your 150 words. This is very important. Tribal subplan is very important, I have just told you. What is tribal subplan approach? And what is tribal subplan budget? Very, very important. You can expect this. Anybody who knows about TSP? Raise your hands. So first of all, let us try to know what is tribal subplan. Niti Aayog regime came when? From 2014 onwards. Till then, every 5 years, there will be a plan period, isn't it? There are aberrations here and there. There are also, not necessarily 5 years, but then Normally, in every 5 years, there will be a plan period, and that was Planning Commission's regime. So this particular TSP, what Government of India does through Planning Commission, it introduces or suggests tribal development strategies. TSP is nothing. TSP doesn't find place in the constitution. TSP is just strategy. Okay. This was introduced in the 5th 5-year plan period. 1974 to 1979 is a plan period. During that time only it was first introduced, and it still continues because that has helped. This is now termed as Scheduled Tribe Component, STC. Okay. No more TSP. This is now called as STC. But then you may be asked, what is TSP? And you must also say that it has been now termed as Scheduled Tribe Component. The examiner will value that probably, even if you know nothing, you will know that you know about it. TSP approach, what key features? It applies to states and union territories with ST population of more than 2%. If the population of tribal in a state is less than 2%, this TSP thing or STC thing will not be made applicable for them. It has to be 2% or more. You understand what I have said, or you do not understand? I'll come to that. It mandates earmarking of funds in proportion to ST population from the overall plan outlay. We'll explain that when we explain TSP budget. But let me tell you, tribal subplan is something which was thought of between 1974 to 79 plan period. Wherein, why it was thought of? Because government saw that lot of money is getting pumped for tribal development. But we don't know how the money is getting spent, whether there is a special allocation for the tribals. Till 1974, no special mandatory budgetary allocation was done for the tribal. Whatever development work was supported by budgetary allocation was done for you, me, and also for the tribals. No special thing was done for them. Here, tribal subplan was thought of because government thought that unless we make some special dispensation for them, this gap between the tribal and non-tribal will get widened. To really mainstream the people, tribal people, and to see that the pace of development becomes faster, special dispensation was thought of. Hence, apart from the normal budget in which tribals have their pound of flesh, there was a special dispensation under TSP. What is TSP? Under TSP, the proportion to the tribal population will be the total budgetary allocation for the tribals. For example, Odisha has got 22.85% tribal population. So 22.85% of the total budget of the state will be earmarked for the tribals. You understand? So what is the difference? Earlier, no special allocation. Budget was budget, one budget, no disaggregated budget. From out of that budget, like development will be done for any non-tribal community, same rule will be prevailed here. But now it is an additionality. TSP is treated as an additionality. If you give tribal subplan a tribal subplan budget, don't think that other money will not be spent for them. Normal funds meant for development of the people will be spent for them. But this amount is an additive top-up so that the development can happen faster for them and the gulf between the non-tribal and tribal will be narrowed down. That is the concept with which it was done. So it focuses on what you must be knowing ITDs. Have you heard about ITDs? Integrated Tribal Development Agencies. You must have heard about micro projects for the PVTGs. You must have known about the MADA, Micro Area Development Agencies. All these creations happened when during fifth 5-year plan, TSP budget was let down. Because when a special budget is let down for them, you need institutional mechanism to implement it, administer it. Hence, ITDs came up. ITDs came up, in the fifth 5-year plan in the entire country, which was only 42. But gradually, it, went up. And today you find in the country little more than 350 ITDs, just to ensure that the money budgeted under TSP is properly spent, properly planned and executed. That's the mandate. What is being done, what is siphoned out, I am not going to tell you. So it focuses on area-specific planning, integrated tribal development projects or ITDPs, ITDs, that is what, it was done. Convergence of schemes across departments. Empowerment and participation of tribal communities in planning and execution. And one of the most important thing here, in TSP approach is, very categorically it has been written in the guideline. Two things. TSP fund is non-divertible and non-lapsable. You must, underline those two words when you are writing somewhere. What is non-divertible? If something is meant for the tribal people and tribal area, that money cannot be used in non-tribal area or for the non-tribal people. Second thing is non-lapsable. Normally what happens in the government, from the state budget, the money is to be spent by when? March 1st. What year, sir? March 31st. March 31st, you have to spend the money or else you have to surrender the money. So far as TSP is concerned, it is non-divertible and non-lapsable. The TSP fund carries forward, taken forward. So money is plenty. But I'll just, give you an example to, penetrate your little brain. I remember when in 2014, Dr. Vaid, at times Chief Minister's Office, Chief Secretary pressurizes you that you approve the diversion proposals. I remember from roads and buildings side, about 65 crores, which was TSP budget, came to me, and I was pressurized time and again that, I recommend, because the director has to recommend, director is the head of the establishment for diversion of fund. My principal secretary also, pulled me up and said that, are you above government? You have to agree to this. So I was a teacher and then I was an IAS officer. So I know how to play with words better than bureaucrats. So what I wrote that yes, 65 crores of rupees is diverted, is allowed to be diverted during 2013-14 from tribal to the non-tribal. However, with the following condition. The condition is the administrative department, meaning, roads and buildings department, in their TSP provision in the next financial year, will make an additional budget of this amount. That got through, they became happy, and we became happy. Probably they thought that this fellow will go somewhere. He has come back as a collector. Now he is acting smart. He will go to some other department. But I continued. And I saw that in the draft budget, that money was not added on. So I went to the Chief Secretary. I said, sir, you have approved it. Chief Minister has approved it. So let us see that, that money which you have diverted as per our approval, is factored here. It got factored. So my point is that you people, some of you will definitely get through Indian Administrative Service. If you get an opportunity, apply your mind. Just don't succumb to the pressure of your higher authorities all the time. Use your common sense, use your pen, and use your tricks to see that the tribals are not deprived. And this is a constitutional kind of, a provision, TSP, though it is not constitutional. Try to see the spirit and look at the development of the tribals. You see, what it focuses, area-specific planning, I have said, convergence of schemes across departments. Do you know, we have in Odisha 32 administrative departments. Not all the departments put TSP funds. There are some departments which will not keep, which cannot keep provision, for the tribals under TSP. What happens, you see, suppose 100 rupees is there. Suppose 100 rupees is there as the budget and 22.85 crores is to be budgeted under TSP. It is to be in the total budget. Some department may give both, some department they may give less, because mostly infrastructure and social sector departments, allocate more money, and there are some departments who do not allocate money at all, they need not. So, the role of the TSP, who is the nodal department of TSP? Tribal Development Department. Tribal Development Department is not doing, but then Tribal Development Department's role is, they must see during budget time whether the departments are putting their TSP share or not. If they are putting the TSP share, whether they are putting it as lump or they are identifying the gaps existing. Suppose Women and Child Development Secretary is me. As Tribal Department Secretary, his job is to call for the departments and see what is their gap. In Women and Child Development Department, suppose there are 1500 Anganwadi centers to be done. That is the gap. So, how many Anganwadi centers they have budgeted with specific names? We have been doing in Odisha from 2016-17. Hence, the Department of Tribal Development has a very, very important role to play. In fact, it has been mandated that the Tribal Development Department has to see the TSP budget of each department before it is placed in the assembly for approval. How far it is getting done, I'm not sure about other states, but this is the mandate. If with that mandate, Tribal Development Department does, and it is followed by other departments, then probably the tribal development can be done way, way better. So that is what convergence of schemes and empowerment and participation of tribal communities in planning and execution. And I have already said, I think I am repeating. Okay. So TSP budget, I have already said. Okay, I have said about the state's budget. But what about the center? Center also has a budget? Yes or no? How central budget is given to the states? In center, if there is 100 crore of rupees budget, 8.6% of the budget will be earmarked for the tribals in central budget. You understand? Total budget of center, if it becomes 100 crores, 8.6 crores will be earmarked for the tribals. Each department will distribute the allocation in such a manner, need-based, so that 8.6% of the total budget of the country, imagine how hefty amount it will be earmarked for tribals. Health, women and child, so many, roads and buildings, drinking water, culture, whatnot. Then how the central allocation will be distributed to the states? Are you able to follow me or not? Center allocates X amount under TSP, which will be distributed to the states. It cannot be distributed like, laddus. There has to be a basis. So the total budget, TSP budget of the nation in a specific year is treated as 100. If you take the unit as 100, Government of India sees what is the proportion of tribal population to the total tribal population of the country. For example, Odisha contributes 9.17% of total tribal population of the country. Odisha is entitled to get 9.17% of the total TSP budget of center to the state. What was happening, which is not happening now? Earlier, the state who was shouting more, they were getting more. Those who were sleeping, they were not getting their own, pound of flesh. Of late, it has been decided that this will be treated as an entitlement. It will be given to the states from center, but it will be activity based. Till 2014, lump provision were provided. You can eat laddu, you can do anything, no specific activity specific, need based kind of a thing. But from 2014 onwards, there is a paradigm shift. Gradually, the felt needs are getting itemized with, of course, deviations here and there. And gradually, things are taking a better step. I think these are some of the things which you can, see from, Now, what is happening, you see, every department which is contributing substantially to the TSP budget has a TSP section in the central ministry and also in the state ministry. So the TSP desk is now set up in almost all the states as well as in the center for regulating, for monitoring the amount budgeted, amount spent, and benefit accrued to the people, because outcome-based budget has taken place for last 1 decade or so. So these are the things, you see, if we want to see that TSP approach works effectively, TSP budget is budgeted properly, spent properly, it becomes need-based, and the benefit goes to the tribals. These are the 3 or 4 things which should be done. Strengthen monitoring, use tech-based tools for tracking fund use, greater tribal participation in planning and review. Mostly planning was done, and even it is done now to a certain extent, top-down approach. Always the approach should be what? Bottom-up. Slowly, I tell you, it has not been saturated. Slowly, bottom-up approach is becoming the order. It will still take some more time, depending on how the government works, for, top-up, what is that? Which approach? Bottom-up approach, yeah. And legal framework for TSP to ensure accountability. This is very important. Most of the states, Odisha hasn't done it. 6 out of the 10, Schedule 5 states, Dr. Vaid, they have now come up with a TSP rule, which is now converted by some state as an act. Okay. So, dedicated, legal framework for TSP to ensure accountability. It has already started. Andhra, Telangana, and of late, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh. These are the 5 states who have come up with. Odisha is in the process. But with that kind of scheme of things, accountability will become more, and this is a way forward. And dedicated TSP cells in all implementing departments, I told you. 4th, capacity building of officials in tribal areas. Normally what happens, who are posted in tribal areas? The laggards, those who get punishment, normally goes and posted in the tribal areas by and large. I remember, when we had done district welfare officers posting, initial posting after Public Service Commission selected them. During selection also I was expert, and I had asked few fellows whom I knew that they will be selected. I said that you are from Koraput. Would you like to work in tribal area or in non-tribal area? Most of the people said that we will work in non-tribal area. But there were 4 fellows out of 10 who got selected had told me, tribal I am telling, that would like to work in tribal areas. So when the result came out, those 4 fellows, out of so many got selected. And the counseling was done by me, who will be posted where. So I caught hold of them. Out of 4, 3, they didn't refuse. 3 said that yes, sir, we will work in tribal areas. Believe me, over a period of last 8 to 10 years, I have been observing them. They are one of the best hands of the district collectors. So, what I would like to say is that there are officials, there are frontline workers, no doubt of those. But people do not know, though they are implementing schemes and programs, what is that scheme? What is that act? What is that rule? I can bet my sword, many secretaries do not know, many directors do not know what to speak of collectors, schemes and programs. If you people tomorrow will succeed and come up, which I wish that you should come up, please. I had gone to take classes in Lavasna. I told the fellows that this is the opportunity. You go through all the rules, acts, policies, schemes of government and try to understand. You will not get time once you are posted. Before posting, this capacity building should happen. In fact, capacity building of officials in tribal areas, we have huge funds given by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, but we are not properly utilizing. And now there are 29 tribal research institutes. They are the platforms, where we must try to see that the capacity building training program is provided and it goes to the deep structure of those officers who are going to implement it. And not only the officers, but also the people for whom the program will be implemented. It could be the STPRI members, it could be the self-help groups, it could be the tribal youths, it could be the civil society organizations, and people in general. They should also be made aware of various schemes and programs so that with understanding somebody will accept the scheme and with understanding somebody will execute the scheme. then only TSP approach will become a successful approach. You see, I'll just, tell you in 2-3 lines, 4-5 things more. Do you still have time? I'll just take 10-15 minutes and I'll tell you what are those things which you should try to give more trust. I have only said you 5 things. I'll not show you in details, those things, but then Forest Right Act is something which you should try to understand and which you should try to know what Forest Right Act is, why it was done. People say that this was done to undo historical injustice to the tribal. It is very easy to say so, but what is that? You try to find out. I am not trying to tell you. What are the different kinds of, rights that is recognized under this act? Whether only giving a patta is end of implementation of forest right, or one should look beyond, the recognition of rights. If you look at Forest Rights Act, Forest Right Act is such an act by which not only the rights will be recognized, but the rights will be converted to livelihoods. And that livelihood will be such that, it will be sustainable in nature. That is why just we have completed a study. The report is in the hands of, your guru, Dr. Vaid. There are problems in the report, I don't say, but then we have said that, how FRA 2.0 should be taken. Looking beyond the recognition of rights, what should be done so that the rights recognition will end up as a livelihood option on a sustainable mode. So try to read even my report, at least the section Dr. Vaid will share with you. Looking forward, beyond, rights recognition, what should be done? What the forest right envisages, how far we have moved, and how far we have to, go forward to call it a day. Then, PM Janman, you must have been told several times. PM Janman, you can even Google search and find out. The other day, I did a chat GPT because my son taught me, which is a very dangerous thing. But I saw most of my, write-ups, which I could recognize, is there. So if you can write PM Janman and Da Juga, I had 2 articles. It was in Indian Express. You have that. Dr. Vaid has got that. It was very carefully 650 worded, or else they won't publish it. So I have given PM Janman, Da Juga. These 2 things I have given. You can read those 2 articles and probably you can get everything possible. Need not even go in depth. But let me tell you, PM Janman and Da Juga. Critically, if you would like to see, PM Janman to be saturated over a period of 2.5 years is unthinkable. Cannot. So PM Janman has been done by Honorable Prime Minister, but the time given has been 2.5 years to be saturated. And if you look at the 11 interventions, they are all infrastructure oriented. Livelihood has been kept aside and culture has been kept aside. By the time PM Janman gets over, you will not find a single house structure which is a cultural marker of tribal communities to be existing. The culture is gone, and culture is gone, and within a period of 2.5 years, saturation can be done with, in terms of constructing road and all that, but livelihood will get backseat. Coming to Da Juga is again, an infrastructure oriented project where 7 administrative departments are involved. Nowadays, after a lot of criticism under Da Juga, which is a 5 years project, has factored in a number of livelihood initiatives. So you also go and have a look at that. And Adi Karma Yogi is a funny kind of a thing. Though if it comes in the examination, you have to write. You must have seen for last 3 years, Karma Yogi is a strategy that was developed by Government of India. But now it came into the mind of one bureaucrat that if we put Adi, then it becomes tribal. And Karma Yogi is already there, and Adi Karma Yogi. So the Karma Yogi concept will be implemented in tribal areas, and he has seen it as a separate strategy, which is not. However, Adi Karma Yogi is something which has been announced by Government of India only recently for last 2 to 3 months time. Under this strategy, what government has decided? Government has decided that 20 lakh people, tribal people, officials, frontline workers will be trained. What kind of train there will be and what will be the outcome? They will be trained in such a manner so that the schemes and programs which are already there, people can access. A kind of demand-driven approach will be initiated by, by putting the gaps in the table from the household level to the village level, to the panchayat level, to the block level, to the district level, to the state level, so that it will be funded appropriately by government to see that the gaps over a period of 5 years are addressed. So this is a band of people, employees, civil society organizations who will be trained, and they will be said as Karma Yogis, who will become the champions, who will become the community influencers. This is the spirit, who will take forward, raise issues wherever gaps are there for getting the benefit done by the respective departments, by the respective departments to fill in the gaps. That is the that is the spirit. And tribal research institutes, I have already told you there are 29 TRIs. I'll send you a PowerPoint which I had presented in the ministry 15 days back. You can just have a look at that, and you need not have to read anything, and you can make out from there. 11th important thing is that pertaining to inclusion and exclusion of communities. I know I am also getting late. I have to go to Hotel Taj. My friends must be there for dinner. You see, anybody and everybody cannot be included in the scheduled tribe list, which is approved by Honorable President. There are some criteria, but those criteria are draconian criteria. In 1965, Lokur Committee, you must remember, Lokur, L-O-K-U-R, Lokur Committee announced, let down 5 criteria on the basis of which the communities were screened and included in the scheduled tribe list. And constitutionally it is mandated that when any community will only possess those criteria, they will be included in the scheduled tribe list. And there is also provision for inclusion and exclusion. But if you really try to try to plot those 5 criteria over the 730 odd tribal communities that you find in the presidential order, you will find that none of the scheduled tribe communities are qualifying now as a scheduled tribe. Even then, the scheduled tribe communities are getting included and getting increased day by day. In fitness of things, if in exclusion are the provisions and the local committee criteria are not revised, I think it is a fit case for excluding all the tribal communities. Don't write it in your paper, you will get a bloody big zero. But then what I'm trying to say is that on the basis of local committee criteria, the scheduling is done. And the scheduling process is such that, the state through the TRIs conduct empirical study, ethnographic study on any community who comes up and raises voice that we should be included under scheduled tribe community. That ethnographic study is done, it is put before the tribe's advisory council. And after it is put before the advisory council, then it is sent to governor. Governor approves it, and then it is sent to the respective tribal ministry, Government of India, who sends it to the Register General of India for scrutiny. And after, those reports are scrutinized, if they feel that it is a fit case for inclusion, then they recommend it to the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe. And National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, after agreeing, it comes back, to the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, who places in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And with majority, if it is accepted, then it goes to President for assent and notification. It is a very long-run process, and there are proposals which are lying with the ministry for 30 years. Yet, neither they have been rejected nor accepted. And off the record, I am telling you, it is getting included selectively with malice in most of the cases these days. But then this is the process that you should know, and process for inclusion and exclusion are also there. I think that's it.
I don't think you got to have any questions. That is already tired. But this was an really enlightening talk. And the most crucial thing, if you take care of, it is the tribal cell that is there. That is the best thing that has happened. मेरा ख्याल है कि सारे डिपेंडेंट डिपार्टमेंट बंद कर दिए जाए. Every state has a cell. The center has a cell that coordinates. तो हमें FRA है, पेशा है, LARR है, जितने acts हैं, that cell can coordinate everything. Of course, power must be given to that and funds also. वो अगर आ जाता है तो हमें कोई चीज की जरूरत नहीं है. इवन मिनिस्ट्री को भी हटा दो. Minister can come under that. That is the best thing that has happened. Started during UPA time. It's good that for the first time I can appreciate Modi ji for the task that he has done. All of us, I think, मैं सर को कुछ नहीं कहने दूंगा, ये फिर तारीफ कर देंगे, थैंक्स बोलेंगे. But then he said that he will be available online also. So in future अगर लगता है कि जैसे he will be here 27th,
है
ना?
It should be here. So what I would suggest, Dr. Vaid, let your people, jot down what all they need clarification from me. Not only this, anything beyond this also in tribal. And you jot down, send it to me so that I will try to have a look at that. I will also get prepared and respond to you through
online.
Yeah, online. Yeah.
But Odisha, I think, is doing better than the rest of the states. And आप लोगों को एक सवाल पूछना चाहिए, मैं पूछ लूंगा सर को कि ब्यूरोक्रेसी और एंथ्रोपोलॉजी कैसे सिम्बायोटिक हैं करके, वो अलग से हम लोग बात कर लेंगे. बट दैट्स ए वेरी crucial question for your career also, and that can be a question in exam also. ठीक है? We'll thank sir. Tired sir. So great. Perceptions are deceptive. ठीक है ना? All is well that ends well.